cars that needed something fixed. Why? Because you could get the car for less, take your toolbox and your expertise and make that car work better. I've rebuilt engines, I've changed transmissions, I've done body work on cars. I spent so much time under a car. Like, I messed up both of my shoulders under a car changing transmissions. Like, trying to muscle it back on the transmission jack. Like, I've had so many knuckle busters in my life. And I remember when I first got married, that's all I did. I'd go buy a raggedy car, fix it up, sell it. And when I sold it, we had some money for a couple of days. And then I'd go get me another car, and I'd buy it, fix it up, and we had money for a couple of days. And I can remember what it was like before. And I can remember when we moved from Indiana, hallelujah, to Pennsylvania, and I got my first job as a married man. And I was making $6.25 an hour, driving a trash truck. And I remember telling my wife, babe, if we can make $300 a week, we're going to be okay. Where did I get $300 a week from? I got that input, I got that desired output from my circumstances. I want you to think about that. I got that desired output from my circumstances. My circumstance was my rent on my one-bedroom apartment was $250 a month. My car payment on my car was $166 a month. Food, utilities, you know, our expenses might come out to $700, $800 a month. I'm taking home $300 a week. That's $1,200. We did it. By the way, if you were honest, how many of you determine how much money you want to make based on those external circumstances? I want you to think about the word circumstance. It's a compound word, right? The word circumstance comes from the word circle, which means something that's around, and the word stance, which means what? Stand. So what is a circumstance? It's all the things that are surrounding you while you're standing still. Why is that important? Because in the animal kingdom, we're not animals, but I'm just going to give you an analogy from the animal kingdom. There are two different types of animals. What are they? Predators and prey. Did you know that you can look at an animal, and by looking at the animal, you can determine whether they're a predator or prey? You know how you can tell? Their eyes. Predators have their eyes in front of their head so they can see what they're pursuing. Prey have their eyes on the side of their head so they can see what's pursuing them in their circumstance. And so it's so interesting too. Like we went on an African safari. It's so interesting how, like, you know, lions are not attacking gazelles because lions are malevolent, evil creatures. They're attacking gazelles because they got babies they need to feed. The gazelle is not running from the lion because he wants to starve the lion to death. He just wants to preserve his own life. And so what happens is, as human beings, the scripture says the wise man's eyes are in his head. So at any given moment, I can decide where to look. And if I decide to focus on all the things around me that I believe erroneously are controlling my life, I have turned myself into a prey for circumstance. Or I can decide that God made me for a purpose. And I can passionately pursue the purpose that is in front of me, and I can become a predator of purpose and productivity. So, there's clearly a reason for everything, including why so few people are rich. There has to be a reason. The answer to that question, why are so many people broke, so few people rich, and why are so many people broke? Like, the answer to that for centuries was, the answer for that has changed over the centuries. There was a time when rich people were rich because of exploitation and pillaging and conquest. Because that's how because the economic infrastructure of the world was based on agriculture, and if you didn't have land but you had might, you could go take somebody else's land. while that may still be true in some cases, it's certainly not the norm in 2026. People who create wealth in 2026 are not going to create wealth by pillaging and conquest. They're going to create wealth by creating value for other people. And so, here's my word of advice before I teach you how to decide to become one of those rich people instead of deciding to stay one of those broke people. And by the way, either way you decided, I think this is the most liberating, one of the most liberating things I could say to anybody. If you don't like your outputs, change your inputs. And your outputs will change automatically. Okay, so what are the inputs? I'm going to give you some inputs. Input number one is there's a difference between rich mindsets and poor mindsets. What's the difference? Well, you know what? Now that you ask, I'm going to get on my digital blackboard. I'm going to show you. Because it's one of my favorite things to draw. And it's like really the thing that changed my life the most back in 1999. And that is understanding my beliefs in my mindset about money, where it comes from and what it's for. And I thought, well, money comes from working. And you find somebody who's going to pay you the most for your time, and you sell your time to them, and then you can get some money, right? And so that could be true, but it doesn't have to be true. So when I realized that if there is, and some of you will remember seeing this in my Trash Man to Cash Man book, if there is an intersection, and there's an accident on that intersection, you say, why did you draw the money? Well, because if you have an accident, it's going to cost you some money. Okay. Okay, so there's an intersection, and you're standing here, somebody else is standing here, somebody else is standing here, somebody else is standing here. Okay? You all saw the same accident. And so what you do is you go from having a job to owning a job. OAJ. Now when you own a job, that just means because you knew how to do this job, you said, you know what, I'm tired of doing this job for Ryan Barber. I'm going to do that same thing for me. And so now you go out and you spend money and you start doing it for you. And so what you think you did, you think you started a business, but what you really did is you bought a job. And so now you own a job. And you have no systems. What you have is you have a skill, and now instead of selling it to one person, Ryan Barber, you go out and find clients. So you traded one boss for 27 bosses. And they all have different demands on your time. And so you own a job. And so this person doesn't make much money. This person makes more money, but they have no time. This person doesn't have enough money or enough time to enjoy their life. This person doesn't have enough money or enough time to enjoy their life. This person has enough money, but they don't have enough time to enjoy their life. And you come up here and you say, you know what? I'm going to own a system. Now a system is something, and I'm going to show you what kind of systems to have. A system is something that you own that pays you when you're not working. Did I say that? You say it. A system is something that you own that pays you when you're not working. In other words, you set this system up, and the system perpetually kicks out cash. And every now and then, you might have to come add a little gas to the system, add a little oil to the system, maybe push a button on the system, but the system is doing most of the work. And when you have a system, your time is not a part of the equation anymore. Okay? And then, S&F stands for sowing money seeds. You invest money into things that make you money. Now, if you change your perspective and say, this is not going to be me anymore, this is not going to be me anymore, I'm going to do, like if you have a job, keep your job, don't quit your job, but while you have your job, figure out how you can go and acquire some kind of system. Once this system starts making you money, take some of that money and sow that money into something that will grow. And so now your system is making you money and your money is making you money. So when I got that, and then I got this next piece, child please. Y'all remember the financial house for rich, right? Okay. Right? This thing changed my life. It's built on a foundation of truth. And when I say truth, I'm talking about the principles that make money work. So you got this is your financial house, that financial house. And what does your financial house look like? Okay? Well, you have the income window, you have the IPA window, and you have the WRL window and the outgo window. Now, this is the income window. Most people get their income from their job. So this person right here, he decides, I'm going to build my financial house and make it make more sense. So I'm going to take my money and I'm going to put it in my income window. But if you're poor, when money comes into your income window, because you believe the primary purpose of money is to pay bills, when money comes into your income window, it goes down and goes right straight out your outgo window in the form of bills. This is what poor people believe is the purpose of money. If you believe the primary purpose of money is paying bills, that belief, that mindset is going to keep you broke. The primary purpose of money is paying bills. Why? Because the bills that you have are going to determine how much money you even desire to make. That's not a good place to start from.
Do you want to go 40 minutes?
But if you're middle class, you're not poor, you're middle class. I can't even tell what you're saying. Okay, you're middle class, your money comes down here, so your MC, your money comes down here to the wealth reducing liabilities window, and it goes over to the outcome window and goes out the outcome window in the form of debt. Because you believe the primary purpose of money is paying your bills on time so you can have a good credit score, so you can buy things that you can't afford and pay for them over time. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as doing it that way makes financial sense. I'm gonna tell you something. If it don't make no dollars, it don't make no sense. Okay. Okay. So it goes out in the form of debt. If you desire to be rich, you have to make a decision while you're broke. It's a hard decision to make. Because because you've already set your life up in such a way that there's more money left at the end of the money than there's money at the end of the month. But even though that's the case, you need to have some money going into your IPA window. What's IPA? Income producing assets. You're going to take a little bit of money. I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's 50 cents, $10, $20. Every time you get paid, you got to put some money in your income producing asset window. Even if you don't know what your income producing asset is going to be. So that when the deal shows itself, you are already prepared. And so you've got money going into your income asset window. And here's what's really amazing about putting money in your income producing asset window. By the way, this is the cash flow pattern of the rich. When you put money into the income producing asset window, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. Nothing. I mean, it's not that you don't have any money, but nothing happens. And when you put a little more in it, and guess what happens? Nothing. You put a little more in it, and then you put a little more money in there, nothing happens. You put a little more in there, nothing happens. You put a little more in there, and then all of a sudden you get a little trickle back. And all of a sudden your income producing asset window, your income producing asset window produces some income, puts it in. Do you realize this is the only window in your house that puts money back in here? So when I learned this, fortunately for me, even though when I learned this, I was a pastor, and I was a full-time traveling evangelist. So I had a couple of assets. I had 2 assets. I'm not going to go into what they were. But I only had 2. But I wasn't really focused on them because I didn't realize they were assets until this concept came to me. And so what happened was I kept putting money in here. I kept putting money in here, and eventually my income producing asset window started producing. I decided to live like this in January of 1999. By April of 1999, I made $6,200 in 1 week. And the whole year before that, I made $48,000 for the whole year, which is an average of $4,000 a month. So I made 1.5 times in a week what I used to make in a month. Not because I had a goal, not because I was manifesting, not because I wrote it down, not because I had a vision board, but because I decided to put some of my money into income-producing assets. And those income-producing assets started spinning off so much money that I was like, oh, this looks fine. And eventually, I got to the place where my income-producing asset window got bigger, and then it got bigger again, and then it got bigger again, and then eventually, my income-producing asset window is not only putting money over here in my income-producing asset window is paying off my wealth-producing liabilities. Like, my last month, my American Express bill was $185,000. So you know what I did? I paid it off. But then this month it was $209,000. Like, what they doing? What they doing? So guess what I did? I paid it off. But I didn't pay it off. Who paid it off? Me. Whoa. That was weird. Can y'all still hear me? My income producing asset window paid it off. Like, I don't know what today is. Like, and before the end of the month, I know I've got another $100,000 I got to put on my check card. Guess what? I'll pay it off next month. Why? Because my income producing asset window is so big, it provides me with income. It pays my wealth producing liabilities and pays, it doesn't pay my bills, but it pays me enough money to pay my bills. Literally, this window, if you just hyper focus on your income producing asset window, like, I don't know what's going on. There's a short somewhere. Give me a hand up. So the enemy don't want y'all to get this, because this is the genesis of the Myron Golden. Before that, I was just Myron who? Myron the Owl, right? But this is the genesis. This is literally my first breakthrough financially, and I'm telling you, this thing changed my life. What happened? Did the circumstances change? No, the mindset changed. I love the old African proverb: if there is no enemy without, if there was no enemy within, the enemy without can do no harm. And see, it doesn't matter about the external circumstances. If the internal mindset is greater, the external circumstances have no chance against me. So I told you, I showed you about a little bit about mindset. But here's what you got to become aware. I talked to you about a poor mindset. I showed you a little bit about a rich mindset. But rich mindset starts with perspective. And I'm going to tell you something about the perspective. If your perspective, and some of y'all ain't going to like this, if your perspective is that the reason your life is not working is because of them, I don't care who the them are. I don't care if the them are your parents. I don't care if the them are your teachers. I don't care if the them are races. And I'm not saying there are no races. Because there are races. There are racist people in the world. So what? I said that too fast. Let me say it slow so you don't get both words. So what? Right? When you say, my life isn't working because of them, no matter who them are, then you're saying that you have given all your power to them. Do you think, for a half a second, I care what a racist thinks about me? Child, please. Hey, do you think? So I've got 8 kids. I don't know if y'all know this. Everybody don't love mine. Everybody don't love mine. But it don't matter if everybody love mine. You know why? Because Jesus loved mine, and Myron loved mine. And if somebody else don't love mine, Jesus ain't the problem, and Myron ain't the problem. I just want to make sure y'all understand what we dealing with. Okay. And so, like, I don't care. Right? I have been called false prophet, prosperity gospel preacher, the Antichrist, and Santa Claus. I don't care. The reason they're shooting arrows at my back is because they're behind me. I'ma slow down and talk to them so they can catch up with me. I got 2 words for you. Child, please. Okay, so it's a perspective. You cannot afford the perspective that they are blamed. How about this? There is no blame. Because God is sovereign. Now I'm going to say something. I was born in this city 65 years ago. I had to say it like that. Because okay, you get it. So, I was born in this city 65 years ago. And when I was born in this city 65 years ago, I was born in a segregated hospital. Because black people were not allowed to be born in town general. This is after the polio vaccine. I contracted polio. My parents moved to Pennsylvania before I got diagnosed and treated. It negatively impacted my left side, my whole left side, but predominantly my left leg from the bottom of my foot to my hip. Because of racism. Like, I walk with a brace because of racism. I got braces. Sorry. For racism. I need to not say everything that comes to my mind. Now, if somebody was to be justified in hating racists, I guess maybe I could be one of the ones. And you're acting like it's negatively impacted you. It negatively impacted every step I take for my whole life. But they are still not to blame. Because there is no blame. Because God is sovereign. I love what Joseph said to his brothers when they were afraid that he was going to give it back. He said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. God meant their evil for my good. Why? Because God is sovereign. What does that even mean? That means every difficult circumstance I've ever been through in my life was part of the preparation for my assignment. Okay, so your perspective is, I'm going to examine both sides, and then I'm going to choose one. That's what perspective is. I'm going to look at this thing from every angle. Then I'm going to pick an angle which empowers me instead of one that disempowers me. I'm talking about mindset. I'm going to pick an angle that serves me instead of one that doesn't serve me. I'm going to pick an angle that gives me the ability to serve other people instead of the one that gives me the justification for mistreating other people. And when I do that, that mindset by itself is going to change the game for me. Because Jesus gave us the formula for greatness. He who will be greatest among you, let him be your servant. And if you're not looking for a way to serve value to the people you come in contact with, you have already missed the point. Okay, so your mindset has to do with your perspective. But it also has to do with your perception mindset. Not just your perspective mindset, but your perception mindset. Now, what is your perception mindset? That is, I believe, one of the most important perception mindsets that you need to develop is your perception about perception. What does that mean? Decide. I'm using that word a lot, aren't I? Decide that nothing is so hard you can't learn it. Decide that nothing is so hard you can't learn. I'm old and I don't know. I'm 65. I ain't gonna say I'm old, because I'm a brother man. Brother man is doing stuff he wasn't doing when he was 30 years young. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Don't play with me. Stay with him. Don't play with him. Okay. So I'm old is not an excuse. I don't have enough education is not an excuse. I don't have enough degrees is not an excuse. There's nothing that's too hard for you to learn. I can prove it to you. Y'all want to prove it? Okay. When you landed on this planet, whatever your landing day was, mine was May 14, 1961, I landed. When you landed on this planet, you didn't know nothing. You didn't know your name. You didn't know your address. You didn't know your phone number. You didn't know your mama, your daddy. You didn't know what a house was, a car was, food, nothing. You didn't know a thing. You couldn't even hold your head. Like, you were in danger of breaking your neck if somebody didn't support your head. Like, if you didn't have people, grown folk taking care of you, you wouldn't have made it. So, when you landed on this planet, you knew nothing. Now what do you think about all the things you know how to do? You know how to ride a bike, you know how to drive a car, you know how to write, you know how to read, you know how to use a computer, you know how to use a smartphone. Some of y'all know how to code on computers, some of y'all know how to sell, some of y'all know how to do business. Like, you didn't know none of that. Some people can skateboard. Now to me, it could be because of racism. But going fast, standing up don't make sense to me. Going fast, standing up. On what? Anything. Skates, skateboard, snowboard, skis, going fast, standing up. To me, for me, dumb as a box of rocks. Saying, no, I don't want to go. You want to go fast, stand up? No. Okay. But I could learn. If I desire to, I can learn. Why? Because there's nothing that you can't learn. That's your perception mindset. I don't know how to do it. But the things I don't know how to do are my greatest opportunity. Especially the things that I don't know how to do, that if I do them, they're going to move the needle a lot in my favor. Oh, that's my greatest opportunity. Okay. So, we're talking about rich mindset. Okay. So, we talked about the perspective mindset, we talked about the perception mindset. Let's talk about the profit mindset. Profit mindset. Credit where credit is due. Jim Rohn again. Profits are better than wages. Because profits are better than wages because wages come from my inability to believe that I can create value for other people. And so what I do is I sell my time because it's the only asset I know I have. It's not the only asset you have. It's just the only one you're aware of. And so what you got to do is you got to get to the point where you got to get to the point where you're okay with profits. Like you don't think profits are evil. And you don't think making profit makes you an evil person. I love making profit. It makes me very, very happy. Love profit. So, profit mindset. Why is it important that you like making profits? Love making profits? Because I will never work to become something I despise. So if I despise wealth, and I despise prosperity, I'm not going to work towards that because it'll turn me into a person that I won't even like. And I'm stuck with me for the rest of my life, so I better not do that. Okay, so rich mindset. Then we need to have a rich skill set, or rich skill sets. Rich skill set number one, critical thinking skills. Most people do not have the ability to think critically. Your critical thinking skills have to do with your ability to weigh both sides of an argument and come to the conclusion of the one that makes the most sense based on all of the evidence. See, when somebody is unwilling to look at some of the facts, I know I can't trust their judgment. Why? Because they haven't even evaluated everything. Why? Because their cognitive bias won't let them. By the way, we all have cognitive bias. What is cognitive bias? It's we believe the things we believe and we look for things. We all have cognitive bias. We have confirmation bias. I meant to say confirmation bias. We look for things that confirm the things we already believe. And most people hide from things that don't confirm the things they already believe. See, here's a belief I have. For instance, critical thinking. I don't believe that my race, like being a black person, is a disadvantage. I don't believe it's a disadvantage in America. I believe there was a time it was a disadvantage in America. I don't believe it's a disadvantage. Are there some circumstances in which you could find yourself disadvantaged because you're black? Yes. But there are some circumstances where you can find yourself disadvantaged because you're white. In America. There are some circumstances where you can find yourself disadvantaged because you're a man or disadvantaged because you're a woman. I get all that. But those aren't the reasons your life ain't working. Because they don't have the ability to stop you. But you have the ability to stop yourself and tell yourself that it was them that stopped you. In the words of the Israelites who spied out the land, we are as grasshoppers in their sight. wait, time out. How did that happen? Okay, so you have to have the ability to think critically. And in order to think critically, you have to be open to have conversations. See, any conversation that I am willing to have, it's more than likely because of the truth that I'm afraid to discover. See, I don't mind having conversations with people who disagree with me, as long as we're not just arguing and we're not contending for the purpose of contending. Like, if you think you're right and you think I'm wrong, I'm willing to have a conversation with you if me being wrong is going to hurt me or other people. And if I really believe it, and I really believe it for the reasons I think are true. Truth never has to hide from a lie. Why do I need to be afraid to have a conversation? I used to love it when Jehovah's Witnesses would come to my house. Other people wouldn't let them in. Oh, y'all, come on in. Come on. Let's talk about the Bible. Yeah, but God's name is Jehovah. So, my question would be, what was his name before 1619? What does that mean? What was his name before 1619? Well, in the English language, there was no letter J. There was the letter I. And, okay, y'all heard of the King James 1611 Bible? Did you know that the word Jesus is not in there? The word Jerusalem, the word Judah? None of those words are in there. Why? There was no J in 1611. Jesus was spelled I-E-S-U-S, Iesus, before 1619, when the J was invented. So my question for you is, what was God's name before 1619? Anyway, and I would ask, that would just be one of the questions. And I'm not hating on Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm just saying, I'm not afraid to have a conversation with somebody. I'm not afraid to have a conversation with somebody about anything that I disagree with them about. And I don't expect everybody to agree with me. There are people who disagree with me. People in my own family disagree with me. About stuff. Doctrinal stuff, business stuff. Okay. Let us arise and be living and see how it all turns out. Okay, so critical thinking skills. Number 2. This is a skill set now. Rich skill set. Communication skills. I'm going to make a statement here. I want to make sure I state it clearly and accurately. That the quality of your financial life is going to be in direct proportion to your communication skills. Period. And it's interesting when you think about the 4 levels of value, the lowest level being implementation, you selling your muscles over time. Unification, you're using your management skills as the resource, the thing that you're using to turn it into income. But you get to the communication level. Now you're using your mouth to create messages that move the masses and have conversations that create cash flow. It kind of doesn't seem fair. But Myron, all you do is talk. Yeah, but I done got good at it.
And by the way, you're not as good as you think you are. You're as good as the marketplace shows you that you are. See, I'm not as, that's what I get. Pride was before destruction. I used to talk, now I just read about it. Okay, so they will show you, the marketplace will show you how good your communication is by the response. Somebody said, your communication is the response you get. So, let's don't be delusional. Let's always be, now, I don't know if you do this or not. I'm always working on my ability to communicate. I'm a marginally good communicator, relatively good. And I still read books on communication. Why? Because I want to be better than I am. That's the point. Better at what? Everything that I do. I don't want to get worse. And so, communication is the third highest level of value. What's the highest level? Imagination. Now here's the thing about it though. Even though communication is not the highest level, it's the most essential level. What? How can it be the most essential level? Well, because you ever said something, wish you hadn't said it, and you think, man, I need to think before I speak. You can speak without thinking. You can't think without words. So communication is critical to imagination. Because you're going to have internal communication, and then you're going to have external communication. Your internal communication is stuff you say to yourself. Your external communication goes both vertically, the communication you have with God, and it goes horizontally, the communication you have with other people. But your vertical external communication and your horizontal external communication is based on your internal communication. And so words are essential. It's so fascinating. Words are essential even to the highest level of value. Okay, that didn't land for you. Let me land it like this. In the beginning was the Word. Think about that. Isn't that fascinating? And the Word was God. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him. Him the Word. And without Him was not anything made that was made. So we're made in the image of God. So maybe the life we desire to lead starts with our words. To the degree, the wisest, wealthiest man that ever lived said, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Why? What does he say? Every word is a seed that I'm sowing into the garden of my future. If I don't like the fruit I'm reaping today, I need to start sowing different seeds today so I can reap a different harvest tomorrow. Stay with it, brother. Stay with it, brother. So communication skills. And communication is your ability to assess a situation thoroughly, internally, through internal communication, and then express that situation externally through external communication in a way that provides value to the people you are speaking with. That's the importance of communication. Some of you are going to do it with a book. I love books. I love writing books. I love reading books. Sometimes I love reading books more than I should. I literally have a stack of books way taller than me that are on deck to be read. Why? Because I just know there's so much I don't know yet. Okay, so communication skills. So when we talk about rich mindset, when we talk about rich skill set, the first skill set is critical thinking skill. Second skill set, communication skills. Third skill set, collaboration skills. Collaboration skills are really hard for people. You know why? Because they ain't you. Did I say it too fast? What do I mean they ain't you? I mean, you have a way of doing things, a way of thinking about things, a way of processing things, a way of executing things. And when you collaborate with somebody else, you collaborate with your wife, your husband, your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your child, your next door neighbor, your business partner, your collaborative partner. Their ideas about how to do it and your ideas about how to do it are not going to be the same. What am I saying? I'm saying collaboration is hard, but I'm also saying it's worth it. And almost every major life upgrade that I've had in my life was the direct result of a new collaborative partner on some level. I want you to wrap your mind around this. It's kind of like Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy's book, Who Not How. So many things you're asking questions. Well, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? You're asking the wrong question. How can you expect to get the right answer? The real question is, who can assist me with this? Who can assist me with that? Who has the, I just created this product and I don't have anybody else to it. Well, then the question is, who can I collaborate with? I did one collaboration this year that generated almost, well, a little over $2 million on the front end, and then on the back end, another $900,000 on the back end, with one collaborative partner. I mean, why would I want to go through this life by myself? See, I don't think you understand the magnitude of what God said wasn't good when he said something wasn't good for the first time. God made everything in Genesis chapter 1, said it's good, it's good, it's good, it was good, it's good, it's good. First thing God said was it's not good for man to be alone. That means that a man needs a wife. But that's not all. There's so many things every day that are the result of people collaborating, and you collaborating with people you didn't even know you were collaborating with. That's the only way you were able to get it done. People need people. Okay, so collaboration. And by the way, here's what you need to realize when you're collaborating. Collaboration skills have to do with your ability to partner with people who are good at what you're bad at, play at what you work at, and love to do what you need to do. That is so cool. I love that. You know how you like to do certain stuff, and then the people you work with, they like to do certain stuff, and certain stuff you like to do, and certain stuff they like to do. That's a match made in heaven. Because opposites attract until they attack. And you know when opposites attack? When they forget that they're not supposed to be good at the same things. That's the point. Okay, so I love collaborating with people. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Love, 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 love. Okay, so we talk about rich mindset, rich skill sets. Skill sets, critical thinking, communication skills, collaboration skills. Let's talk about rich tool sets. You've got to learn how to use tools as leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is anything that you use that gives you a multiplied or magnified output from a minimal input. So you do less and get more out of less than other people get out of more. That's because of leverage. And there are tools. I love the fact that we live in an era when technology and tools are in abundance. There are people who are worried about AI taking their job. Every new technology that's ever come along has taken somebody's job. It ain't going to stop with AI. In fact, it's going to be happening faster and more often with AI than any other tool that's ever been used. Why? In business. Why? Because AI is the ultimate business leverage. What do I mean ultimate business? That's existed in the history of the world. If you understand how to use it correctly, you can, the results that you can produce now are exponential to anything that could have been before. Okay, so you want to look at the tool sets that are available to you. Like, here's what's cool about AI. Here's what's cool about AI. Let's say you have a new book you've written and you want to build a funnel to sell that book, but you don't know how to build a funnel. So what you can do is you can go find a video tutorial on how to build a funnel, point your AI to it and say, go learn how to build this funnel. And then go get an account and say, this is my account, go build me a funnel that sells this book based on these principles. Ta-da! I don't have to know how to build literally have technology that we can use for automation and delegation for the first time in human history. Ultimate leverage. Okay. Now let's get to my favorite part, the part that all this is about. Because mindset times skill set times tool set equals assets, and income follows assets. Remember we talked about the income producing asset window? There's that word again. The income producing asset window. What is it? What is an asset? An asset is something that you've created, that you own, that income can follow. So let me give you some examples of some assets. I'll start with the obvious ones. Real estate is an asset. You can buy a house, rent the house to somebody else, charge them for the mortgage, and have cash flow. Now, let's say
I know you was
you
getting
want
ready
to
for your
buy
daughter's graduation.
a house for $500,000. You have to put some money down. How much do you have to put down?
I'll have to change the schedule
How much?
for next week.
You have to put down 100,000. That's 10%. That's 10%.
But
That's 20.
I took
You have
the
to
day
put 20%.
off.
So let's say
I
you
was
got to put $100,000 down.
Yeah.
$500,000 house. Great.
Did
And so
it?
your mortgage
Yeah.
Oh, you already got an appointment on there for next
$3,000 a
week?
month, let's say.
Yeah, but next week, but I
So
changed
you rent it out to somebody
Okay.
for $3,500 a month.
Because I was like, man.
And you make a little bit
You
of money.
ready?
Yeah, I need to read. I took them. Like, oh, hope she got open. I was like,
And then-
oh, she did.
I did, that came on time.
You're making
I did.
$500 a month. What's your monthly?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's multiply it
You
times
still
12.
understand?
At $500,
Yeah,
you're making $6,000. What's the
All
annual
right, then,
return?
we done in a minute.
All right, thank you. Lord.
Thank you.
I have that.
Everything.
Would y'all like me to show you an asset? Okay, buckle your seatbelt. Where you can make 1,000% return
Yeah, you better
on your
know.
money. Are you sure? Because I don't, like, if you're interested, I don't have an image. I can't do that. Okay, I'm going to show you what it is. Here it is. Talk book. Now, this is not just an asset. This is a particular kind of asset. This is my book. It's called Boss Moves. I'm not showing it to you so you can buy it, but if you want to buy it, you can go buy it at bossmovesbook.com.
Yes.
You only want to pay the
Hold
retail
on,
price
wait,
for it. If you
wait,
want to
I
pay
need
more for it, you
you.
can buy it from somebody who already bought
Hold
it
on,
at
wait,
the
wait,
retail
wait,
price,
wait,
and they're selling it to you on Amazon for a markup. Okay, so if you want to do that, more power to you. I'm sure you can get it for about $60 on Amazon. But if you go to my website, bossmovesbook.com, you can get it for
How do I message you?
Now, if you live in the United States of America, you'll have to pay $9.99 shipping and handling. But if you live overseas or out of the United States of America, you'll have to pay $25 shipping and handling. I just want to be very upfront. Now, why do I love this kind of asset so much? I'm going to tell you a couple reasons. Some of y'all won't want to buy it for this reason, but I'm not trying to sell books, so I don't care. My objective is to teach you how to have a rich life instead of a poor life. And this is one of the best ways to do it, a book. So, I wrote this book how many times? One time. Wrote the book once. I wrote it in 2021. That's when it came out. 2021. September 2021, this book came out. I wrote it one time. Now, if I sell the book that I wrote one time, can I sell it again? Yes. How many more times can I sell it? An infinite number of times. Okay. Now here's what's cool. Because I self-published this book and did not print it, did not do it on Amazon, didn't get some, what do they call it, print-on-demand company to print it for me. I found a printing company. They have them in almost every town in America. I got them to print it for me. It cost me $3 to print this book. But I sell the book for $30. That's 1,000% return on my money. 1,000% return. Now, but it's not just an asset. Watch this. I have a house in Pennsylvania that I don't live in, but I stay there when I go to Pennsylvania. It's kind of like I guess it's my house that I stay in when I go to Pennsylvania. Okay, so it is. Okay. And I don't rent it out. I used to put it on Airbnb, but I didn't like the way people treated my house, and I didn't need the Airbnb money, so I just let it sit there until I get there. Sit there until I get there. Okay, so if I sell that house, I could probably get $500,000 for it. I bought it in 1993. for $178,000. I'm sure I could get $500,000 for it. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 garages. I don't know how many square feet it is. Let's call it 3,000. It's not huge. If I sell that house, once I sell it, I get the money. Can I sell that same house again? No. Why? Because it is not a self-replenishing asset. A book is a self-replenishing asset. Now, I kind of only gave you half the story. Because for some of the books, we don't make 1,000%. For some of the books, we only make a 500% return. Now, I know 500% is not that great, but it's better than 6%. Now, you say, well, why do you only make 500% return on some of the books? Because some of the books we sell from ads. Some of the books we sell, I mean, we were selling $200, $300 worth of books a day before we started running ads. Now that we're running ads, we're averaging over $1,000 worth of books a day. Yesterday we sold $1,700 worth of books. $1,700 worth of books. This book, not just this book and Trash Man and Cash Man. Okay, from the Trash Man to the Cash Man. What I'm telling you is, I love books because they're self-replenishing assets. You can do the work once. How many times? Once. You get paid on it from now on. And you're like, but I don't know how to sell books. Okay, let's go back to the perception mindset. No skill is so hard that I can't learn it. Now, I don't know. Maybe you're just so rich right now that an extra $1,000 to $1,700 a day don't mean nothing to you. But guess what? I'm in the process of publishing a couple more books. Why? Because I'm not confused. It's one of my favorite assets. You know why? Only smart people read books. Like stupid people don't have time. Because they're too busy watching television. And someone is telling them their vision, which is why they have no vision. Only smart people read books. And a smart person who reads your book is now going to have some of your beliefs in their head. And if you wrote a good book, guess what they're going to want from you? More. More what? Of whatever it is you have to offer. A book is a great first product to sell. I love the fact we're in the process of scaling our ads. So, and the reason, like when we sell a book from an ad, we're making 2 times ROAS, which means it costs us half the price of the book to sell the book, which is why we're only making 500% on the books that we sell. I'm gonna tell you something now. Every extra 500% on your money helps. Now, I could put some money in an asset I don't control. I can buy stock in Apple. The stock could go up or the stock could go down, and it'll probably be both. Or I could take the same amount of money I was going to invest in Apple stock and put it into marketing my books. Which one do you think is going to return the most? A self-replenishing asset. I do the work once and get paid on it for the rest of my life. Young people, don't miss this. Not only that.
It's the internet.
Not only that.
That's why sometimes you gotta wait to be
I could create a home study course. I love creating home study courses. I'm in the process right now of creating a course on sales called Sales Moves. And it's for the purpose of teaching people who don't know how to sell. When that sales course comes out, that'll be another self-replenishing asset I can sell. I'll create it once and sell it many times. And I keep doing that over and over and over and over and over and over again. Until when? Until I get tired of it. Then I can create a mastermind.
If they don't go through,
$25,000
that
$55,000
was acting up. That's all we're doing.
Or I can create a VIP experience for $375,000. And all of those are assets. My favorite kind of assets are intellectual property assets that are delivered physically and digitally and experientially.
You got my phone because if you got you using my number,
it will change.
look at my phone because it'll tell us.
So talk about books, right? So I'm going to go back into now. I'm going to talk about another asset class you can create. It's called software.
Thank you. You know wanted to tell
launching
you.
a new software that's an audiobook platform. So for all of you authors
I
out
was trying to see if I had it on
who've
me.
written books and you're tired,
Purple shampoo. On your beard. Yep, it's called purple shampoo.
Exactly.
It's called. Yeah, they don't know what it is. It's really for the blonde hair and gray hair, but it just go gray and already vibrating and it's not. It's just gonna make it shiny. It's gonna pop it out real nice. It's called purple shampoo. Yeah, can you bring me some sandals, some slides? These got my toe hurt. Bree called somebody? You told Bree to call somebody?
Yeah, I was up there and they had called and then they had sent that. And then I told them I can't find them.
No, Bree said she didn't take today. She didn't take the rest of the week off. She's overwhelmed.
Why you didn't tell me?
I didn't know that you was gonna have her do that.
Well, they didn't say sorry about that. Let me see, did you not text fast enough?
What did they? Was this client trying to come in today?
I didn't call them. I'm looking trying to figure out what they did.
Yes. Hi. This is Tasha with the Barber Experience. Hello. When was how soon was you trying to come in? And today is your only day?
It's not the only day. He just wants to get it done. And then we have a little bit of conflict, but
No, hold on, let's see what we can do. And he wants his paper fade. Okay, so
yeah,
5.
that's like really straight here. We're trying to
Yeah, I see.
so but it's not going well. So yes, we need help.
It's let me see. What first and foremost, what he really needs to look at, he can look at these pictures. These pictures that you sent in, it look like I can perform that hairstyle on his hair, even though it's straight. But he really needs to look at pictures of straight hair. The other recommendation, he can look at pictures because he's gonna get like because he got different straight hair of my skin. But and then the second thing is he's really like if his confidence is really not really when he's walking to with his straight hair, I would recommend letting that go out and let him grow out a little bit more and let him kind of hair. A lot of my clients with straight hair it has going towards that route. I don't know. So that's just something to just think about is what we're trying to have in if it keeps on complaining about the straight hair, then you won't have it. Yeah, that's the only solution you can have. But I think you should I would want to work with it today and see what we can do. Because hair department is so big on making sure young boys are feeling their most confident. That's why I was trying to pull out as much as I can to get him to look at everything that I can. But if his hair is super long, straight, yeah, that's probably the avenue. Yes. His curly hair just came in style the last couple of years. So now everybody's like, ah, where's my curls? So they're making it straight. It just had to come in very short, amazing hair. 5 o'clock, should work for me. Um, 4:30 is better. I mean, you're cutting it out. And this, and that's our kids cut, so it's $50. Yes. I can really do it. Yeah, if you can text me, I can't hear nothing. Hey, show my own fashion. Are you in the line? Um, yeah. Yeah. Actually, the one who needed this hot girl thing. Angel been begging for a baby. And look at her skin. Yeah. It is good. And then especially on one in school, we went on one in Wisconsin. That's like good. No, right? Yeah. I like that little short video Johnny did on the board with the locking me with the, yeah. With that after picture, can you, send it, you or you trying to know that? Send it to his, message. That little boy. lady just texted and said, my budget is 35, but I can't do 50. Do I got another barber I can send you to? Sometimes, like, if I'm real hungry, I'll take that banana, baby. You want me to stay? And see, like, them kind of people are the people I be on to send videos. So anytime, that's another sales tactic that I do. That lady who inboxed you and I don't know what happened, but when Bridget told she said that this message was like a scam message. So I would inbox her and tell her like, hey, that's our online receptionist. But if you feel you can just give her this number because right now Bridget said that she's having a mental breakdown. I told her we both can talk to her. I need to quit second guessing myself about cutting. Cause I be looking at people cutting and I be like, oh, you are so good to me. And I look at that, I'm like, no, I can't cut. I be like, it just be on certain things. And it's just really because I don't use that black stuff. I use that black stuff, that's all they doing. Every time I look at a barber and I'm like, dang, I'm like, they use the black stuff. And I was looking at, I didn't even lie, I was looking at Emerald's video and seeing that Emerald's coat was super, super duper cold. But every time I see him, he'll cut the client's hair off where you can save all that, and then he'll put it back on with black stuff. I'm like, why did you just do that? But see, old school barbers can see that. New school barbers are like, did you know you just erased that to put that? Keep that. You just erase out, so now once all that wipe off and it grow back, you're gonna see your barber push you back that much. And you don't even notice it. You just be like, but at the end, that little crispy, that little chalk line, they like, yeah, I'm stepping. No, you're not saying that, wash it and look at your shit. I just don't do that. I don't do that. I'm not gonna do that. And then I just feel like I just need to brush up on I be just scared to like go into a high fade. But then that's why I just need to take my time out. Like all the advice I give everybody else, I need to take my own advice and go get some more education. I need to go take a class.
I feel like that's who my braids, my Christian people.
Yeah.
And sometimes like they need a lot of shit.
A lot.
Like a lot. Like the whole thing. I'm like, okay, so that's something that I know because my braids still do.
Yes. And then that day and on that video that look good, but after 2 days your client is itching, scalp irritated, flaky. But that all that product, that's gonna make you itch. That's gonna be like you in there like, dang, I don't even want these braids no more. That's another thing you definitely gotta look at, cause they just be like, and that's another thing that needs to be said on the video. The reason why you don't see mine looking like this and look like that, I promise you. And then it'd be like, you know how you can like make another funny video and see somebody just like scratching or patting their head like that. This is what you would be doing with your popular client. But you look crispy that day. But tomorrow you're gonna be in there patting the mess out of your head. That's what you got to go to. See, that's the kind of stuff that I be want Jonathan to work on. Like, Jonathan, you work on it. I be having ideas, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go find that video and do that. That's what I need you to be over here figuring that out. Because that's too much work. I can't be behind the chair and no. can't get a lot of people to train me. I don't know how to. Some people just don't know how to explain how they cut. It's only one dude on the internet that I listen to, but he way in Atlanta. I want to do a one-on-one with him because it ain't funny.